By Minister Bello Buba Maigari has brought together dignitaries from across the African continent, and for 2 days they will dwell on ways to evolve bamboo and rattan. Get details with our Center regional correspondent, Khaled.
To all delegations coming everywhere, welcome to Cameroon. This night, you will sleep on beds made with bamboo.
The first Africa Bamboo and Rattan Congress is ongoing in Yaoundé under the theme Making Bamboo and Rattan an Engine for Resilient and Sustainable Economy in Africa, in a context marked by progressive degradation of natural wood resources and the urgent need to fight climate change. Present at the event were dignitaries from Cameroon and other African and European countries. This Congress is organized under the banner of the International Bamboo and Rattan Organization, an initiative since the first summit of head of states of Central Africa on the management of Central Africa's dense and moist forest ecosystems in 1999, authorized to hold in Cameroon by President Paul Biya. Aimed at promoting ecologically sustainable development based on the use of bamboo and rattan, improving the well-being of bamboo and rattan producers and users, while maintaining a sustainable resource base, as well as consolidating, coordinating, and supporting strategic and adaptive research and development. The Congress officially opened by Minister Bello Buba Maigari, representative of Prime Minister Joseph Dion Gute, the imperative of bamboo brought to the limelight via comedy.
Kutashenda asked me, "Who are you?" Because she said that when I move on my bed, the whole village knows that there is something moving on his bed. Because it's a bed on bamboo. Hey, Kutasha, if you could see me here now, me, celebrating bamboo.
The beauty, valor of bamboo could not be overemphasized, as its attractiveness in variety caught the attention of all.
I do all types of works, all types of articles with bamboo.
Minister Jules Dorendongo of Forestry and Wildlife dwelt on the importance of this Congress.
Bamboo and rattan, they help us to fight against climate change and to block carbon so that we can continue our fight with all other countries concerning the fight against climatic change and deforestation, degradation of landscapes. Bamboo and rattan are tools enabling us to fight against poverty.
Since made in Cameroon,
now created with the objective of informing the Nyasoso people and its environment, the people of Nyasoso in the southwest region of Cameroon now beg government to rehabilitate the community radio, which has been abandoned for over 8 years. Join Gong takes us to Nyasoso.
This is what is left of the Nyasoso Tele Center. The once vibrant center, which inhabited the Nyasoso Community Radio FM 90.00, has been reduced to old, dilapidated buildings and dead equipment. For over 8 years, the Nyasoso Tele Center has been inactive, not directly because of the Anglophone crisis, but due to the lack of equipment.
Transmitter got blown off, our transmission went off, and we were just there, and we could not relay, we could not get to the local population. The reason why the telecenter and even the community radio has remained redundant for this period of time.
The Nyasoso Community Radio, which was the first ever community radio in the entire Bakosi land, was a gift from the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications to the people of the Tombel subdivision, Kupe Manenguba division. After functioning for just 2 years, it is believed to have collapsed completely due to mismanagement and bad leadership.
With me, I believe that is mismanagement. There's no follow-up on many things because the thing went down even before the crisis. And if we had somebody who could follow it up very well, maybe the government could have by then done something.
In its glory days, the Nyasoso Tele Center and Community Radio was the pride of the entire Kupe Manenguba division.
So we're even getting Nyasoso Community Radio 90.00 even at Equatorial Guinea. even in Gabon, when we were receiving them calls, because when we had our programs here, people were calling. I'm calling from Equatorial Guinea. I'm calling from Gabon. So it actually impacted made us proud that there was something wonderful here, because that was the first community radio in the whole of Bakosi.
The current staff plead on the government and the elite to revive and restructure the center.
We try to refurbish the telecenter and put the community radio into proper use, because the government had an objective as to why that community radio was installed. So we are craving the indulgence of the state to see into it that our transmitter is actually checked.
The people of Niasoso believe that the Anglophone crisis is influencing the less attention given to the community radio project. They hope that their cry will be heard and their pride restored.
Now, 3 men accused of fabricating fake documents to run a non-governmental organization in Garua have been arrested. The men reportedly escaped after extorting over 273 million from business persons with the objective of equipping their office. Get details in this report. The gang of 3 constituting 2 brothers and a friend fell into the dragnet of the commissioner in charge of judicial police in Yaoundé, Todd Dennis and his men after engaging in fraudulent activities.
The modus operandi is that they fabricated false document of a ghost association called Brief Empowerment Foundation operating in Garua with the aim of promoting youth empowerment, assist orphan and IDPs. They targeted certain economic operators, them, and asked them to furnish them the equipment, the office equipment, household, computer equipment, and full stuff with a global cost of 273,603,600 francs CFA.
The men, after receiving funds from donors, vanished into thin air and were tracked after 5 of their victims laid complaints at the Judicial Police Department in Yaoundé. Investigations led to their arrest.
Some of the victims made a complaint at the Judicial Police Department in Yaoundé, where an investigation was carried out, leading to their arrest thanks to the collaboration of the population. They were arrested in the Lebudi, Damas, Mimboman neighborhoods in Yaoundé.
Police Commissioner Todd Dennis, while congratulating the population cause for vigilance and for all to make use of the toll-free numbers.
Dial the free toll number, the 2 free toll number, 117 or 1500, and the police will do the rest.
The 3 men are currently behind bars for more questioning and consequently trial. Now, the European Union has banned Cameroon from exporting certain fruits to Europe. The ban is made on the basis that these fruits are exposed to certain species and types of flies. Get details with Cynthia Azano.
Cameroon is on a list of countries banned from exporting certain agricultural products to the European Union, according to a note from the European Commission in charge of phytosanitary legislation. These fruits are mangoes, pawpaw, guavas, pepper, eggplants, and tomatoes. These products have contributed to over 12.9% of the country's gross domestic product. In a letter dated 18 April 2022, addressed to the head of phytosanitary police stations at the ports of Douala and Kribi, Yaoundé International Airport, and the Postal Service, the Minister of Agriculture made known that the administration was working serenely to prepare technical files in accordance with the new regulation in order to facilitate exports. However, Cameroon is not the only country in this situation. Angola, Benin, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Chad, Comoros, Congo, Ivory Coast, Djibouti, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Gabon, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya, Lesotho, Liberia, Madagascar, Malawi, Mali, and Mauritania. It is worth noting that the fruit is blamed for being exposed to certain species and types of flies. According to the European Union, the only way to remedy this situation is to apply a systematic approach or post-harvest treatment to ensure that the exported product is free of the pests.
Now, truck drivers and officials of the Douala City Council have been brainstorming on ways to reduce the rate of accidents in the town of Douala. This was during a meeting chaired by the Senior Divisional Officer for Wuri, Catherine Kongwe, completes the story.
With an estimated total of 200 deadly accidents out of 5,000 recorded in the city of Douala since 2021, officials of the Douala City Council and drivers of heavy trucks are working together to reduce the risks of accidents in the commercial town. The two parties met in Douala during a consultation in the presence of government officials.
You can circulate, but you can preserve human life. They tell me that we have the port in our country, in our town, and it's not easy that transport can wait the hours we have to fix if you want to circulate any time.
Being in a city where the life of inhabitants is more important, the meeting is aimed at arriving at a compromise, benefiting the population and transporters through a circulation plan and parking system.
They go above 60 kilometers an hour, and now they park along the highway. They have lots of breakdown.
It is worth noting that 4 months ago, the Senior Divisional Officer for Buri released a communique harmonizing the circulation hours of heavy-duty trucks in the Buri division. But up to date, they fail to respect their circulation bans, and economic reasons have been advanced for the non-respect. Thus, authorities of this region are eager to preserve the lives of the city dwellers.
Let's move over to the northwest region, where a young man who reportedly raped a heavily pregnant woman has been caught and beaten to near death, while another man in Yaoundé has been exposed after raping his 18-year-old daughter, Eileen Sama, with details.
Two alarming rape cases have been recorded once more, happening within an interval of barely few hours, adding to the countless cases in this country since the start of the year 2022. The first happened in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon, where a young man in his 20s was caught raping a pregnant woman who is already 9 months gone and about to birth her child. He was caught during the act thanks to the woman's cries, which called the attention of the people in the area.
That's more beginning to
I don't think
The second case is in Yaoundé, in the nation's capital city, where a father of an 18-year-old girl has been raping his daughter for 5 years since the death of her mother. As the story goes, the man, whose name we got as Kemonge Vincent, reportedly accepted that he has been sexually violating his daughter after the girl reported the issue to her family, who stormed the house and took her away. He then wrote a letter of apology begging his in-laws to forgive him for the sacrilege he committed, promising to never repeat the act while pledging to buy all necessary items to undergo the traditional cleansing rites. With the increase in rape cases in Cameroon, all have been challenged once again to be more cautious and report any rapist for justice to take its course.
Over in the far north region, at least 3 civilians have been killed after Boko Haram militants attacked Turu. Inhabitants of this locality say they now have nowhere to go after the latest Boko Haram attack. Emanuela Moni with details.
According to inhabitants of Turu, terrorists now choose to dodge the military and prey on them in the mountains. They say these terrorists ignore the military and walk over 2 kilometers to come kill civilians hiding in the hills and also loot houses every night. The same phenomenon is believed to have been on for close to a year now, according to villagers of the locality. The military has allegedly done little to fight back these insurgents. Villagers say the military often resist firing the terrorists, claiming they have not been given the authorization to do so. Residents of Turu say they have tried in vain to get the authorities to intervene in this plight, and they wish human rights groups could get involved. This comes few months after 5 workers with the French medical charity MSF were kidnapped in Cameroon's far north. In 2019, 6 Cameroonian soldiers were killed near Fotokol by suspected Boko Haram members. The security in the region remains minimal despite raging insecurity posed by the terrorists. Even hiding is no longer proving safe for civilians.
Now, the Minister of Water and Energy has reassured Cameroonians of a continuous availability of fuel amid rumors of a fuel shortage in the country. This is contained in the release signed April 20th, 2022. Mwanzi Njoyogo completes the story.
Due to the rising concerns of some filling stations in the country about the insufficiency of petroleum products, the Minister of Water Resources and Energy, Gaston Elundwe Somba, has issued a communique addressing these concerns. According to the communique, the country has in its possession the necessary quantity of fuel which can be used throughout the national territory. The minister equally made known that, due to the crisis between Russia and Ukraine, most countries around the Gulf of Guinea are facing a fuel problem. The communique also states that, despite the change in the price of goods, the government, with instructions from the head of state, relayed by the Prime Minister head of government, has taken measures to address this issue, and that petrol is available at the Cameroon Company of Petroleum Depots, SDP and Sonara. The minister also reiterated that instructions have been given to Cameroon's Company of Petroleum Depots to transfer the said petroleum product to the various filling stations in the country in the days ahead. He also assures the public of the availability of petroleum products throughout the national territory. It should be noted that since the attack on Sonara in 2019, Cameroon slightly depends on imported petroleum products.
Now, departmental heads of the Kribi Deep Sea Port have been trained on basic skills needed to fight corruption. Organized by the port authorities alongside a non-governmental organization Standard International, the program is aimed at curbing corruption in the management of port authorities. Dolingondi has more.
Corruption is a phenomenon common with most institutions around the world today, and the Kribi Deep Sea Port is not an exception to this over time. However, through presentations and other methodologies, departmental heads here have been trained on the basics of fighting the cankerworm, with the main objective of broadening their scope on the subject matter for possible eradication.
I'd like to say that I'm really glad the Port Autonome de Kribi is doing this work, because he's going to be a leader worldwide and to Africa by doing so. And what we're going to work with them is tools to understand their risk about corruption and to put process on so they can prevent. You know, when we're fighting against corruption, sometimes we want to put our finger and say, this guy is corrupted, this guy is corrupted. But if we do instead other way, where we put systems in place where they cannot do corruption. So I think it would be better for the next generation and make people feel more safer regarding the corruption.
Meanwhile, good governance and corruption-free services are vectors to corruption, as Patrice Mellom, Director General of the Autonomous Seaport, now affirms.
We have only 4 years operation, so we think this is the time to implement good behaviors. That is why we organize this workshop on the fight of corruption. And the consultant just explained to us that this is a very important activity. It's that could enhance the option and the image of the port. So we are very happy that our collaborators are involved in this activity.
With this collaboration between the ISO 37001 and the Kribi Deep Sea Port, one is confident for better results in the years to come.
And for decades now, the question of when to initiate or start a conversation regarding menstruation have left many teenage girls in embarrassing situations during their first menstrual experience. As parents often shy away from the topic. Bukengo Ward sampled the opinions of some parents. Get their answers in this report.
Since time past, the conversation regarding menstruation and menstrual practices have been considered a taboo subject for many parents and elderly persons, especially mothers, elder sisters, aunts, who find it difficult to figure out a right time and maybe a place to talk about menstruation, especially with embarrassing first experiences.
My first menses was very, very embarrassing. So I use it as a story to tell my daughter, and then I can introduce it to her. But when is the right time is where there's really a problem. You know why? Menstruation is not something that actually comes out like physically, like the breasts that are developing, like the hair that grows, like the nails that grow. It's something that comes from the internal, and it comes out through a part that we tell the children that they're private parts. So it's difficult to talk to your child about the private part. They'll be looking at you in the eye and say, what's mom talking about? But then we have children that develop in different ways at different rates. Some girls develop more than others. So when you start observing changes in your daughter, like the buttocks, like the bust, like the breast are developing, it's the right moment for you to tell your daughter about menstruation.
Talking with academic Dr. Are Jr., he says it takes two to tango regarding the subject matter.
There is no right time. There's no right time actually. I think it is on the side of parenting, the parent should better look at their child. There is actually no age where the parent thinks that is the right time he or she put his daughter and his son down to talk to them about it, so that the son will not stigmatize his classmates in school on menstruation and what's wrong.
Ma'am Epamba Comfort of Cleats, Cameroon says menstruation is not a taboo and states
menstruation is seen as a taboo because many young girls miss school 4 to 5 days every month because they are shy and they are embarrassed of their periods.
Making menstrual talks and conversation a shameless priority in our homes, community, and society at large are giant steps in breaking menstrual stigma, shame, as well as reducing myths and taboo surrounding menstruation.
Bukengo, while this report ends today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. My name is Fon Quinter. Meet again tomorrow at exactly 6:30 p.m. for another edition of Prime News. Till then, have a blessed evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye. Bye.